Pest used to be like Tarkov guru for the guides and stuff, and where do you go and where. That was how I got into Tarkov, like mostly because I remember giving it a try originally and then going, this is way too hard. I'm a little Mario platformer guy. I'm not built for this. I'm not built for this. And then I realized, like, okay, there's like you get your first shitty shotgun kill on a Chad, and you're like, oh my god,
moment.
There it is. That's the high. That's the high. That's the high I'm going to be chasing for the next 5,000 hours. So basically, that's where I got hooked, and I like learned all the ammo and all the guns and all the building and all.
Welcome to Tarducks, a podcast for content creators to come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today I have editor extraordinaire Boomer. Welcome.
Hello. Hi.
So glad you're able to come on. Really appreciate taking the time. And the way we start things off is we do a few random questions. So are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right. So you're heading out to eat. What's your favorite place to eat? What is the meal you're getting?
Ooh. Oh man, that usually really depends, but you can never go wrong with a good burger. Although in my town, burgers are extremely expensive nowadays, so I think I'd go to like a nice noodle bar and order like I'd say maybe a tonkatsu ramen or something, maybe some gyoza, something like that. Get the girlfriend a little kimchi bowl or something.
Okay,
something like that.
All right.
Especially now with the cold weather, like a nice little broth.
Something cozy, yeah, absolutely,
absolutely.
Yep. All right, second question. What was the last good movie or TV show you watched?
Oh, I mean, this is gonna be like mainstream as fuck, but I don't like often make time to watch series at all. Too much to the dismay of my girlfriend. But I have to say the last one I watched and very much enjoyed was Arcane. I think we just watched the second season, so very, very nice, very good.
Nice. And last question, favorite place you've traveled to that you recommend anybody should check out once in their life?
Ooh. Man, when I was younger, when I lived in the States for just short of, I think it was 4 years, we very shortly had, I think, like a week trip or a weekend trip to Niagara Falls. And that was just like mind blowing. I'd lived in the States for a while. A couple of years when I'm younger. You know, whatever. I just vividly remember Niagara Falls just absolutely blowing my mind. It was great. It was also like a story about a guy dying inside a barrel coming down, and I could just not believe it. And I was like, I bet I could do that. I bet I could do that easy. No, that was definitely worth like a very, very vivid memory. I definitely that's like insane to experience.
Yeah.
Just sheer magnitude.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's got to be one.
All right, cool. Well, hey, welcome to the pod. So let's start things off. Where are you from?
Belgium, Bruges to be exact.
Nice. And
so
then
closer towards the sea.
Okay. And where did video games fall into your lap growing up? When did you first discover them?
So I think the very, very first memory that I have of video games is being at my grandma's place on my dad's side. They had this very, very old, shitty, dusty, like smoke yellow PC standing there. To this day I've no idea. It was this like platformer game that had like a little knight that you moved across the screen and you went into like little doors and stuff. It was very, very bare bones, I think. But I've never been able to like remember what it was.
Yeah.
That was my first like interaction with the game. And then the other ones were like it was like a really cheap knockoff with like Penguin Bomberman that you played on your TV, you know, that you have to like switch to a certain channel on your fucking exactly those where you played with the TV remote. That was also a couple. But the actual first like I'm like hooked on it was and I think I have it in the other room. I'm not gonna go bother and like get it, but was the first Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. That was my first one, I think.
Nice.
And then after, obviously, I mean, you saw
Oh
everything
yeah,
in the you
you're
saw
hooked.
everything. I mean, even these, like my little sister makes fun that even the mustache sometimes resembles. So that was not at all the intention, but there it is. Yeah, that
Excellent.
was my first like actual video game experience.
And then
Um,
and then over the years, what are some of the favorites that stick out the most to you?
Ooh, crap, dude. What a hard question. Okay, okay. It's okay. Top favorites. How many? Like
We'll
three,
go
five,
we'll go five because I know World of
five.
Warcraft's got to be up there, and then there's a slew of
Yeah.
Mario stuff.
Okay. So, oh man. Okay. So, I think Super Mario Sunshine is like without a doubt one of the first like absolute like. Oh no, actually, wait. Oh, I'm doubting if I give it to Super 64 instead. Ooh, it's got to be Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube. Either one of those.
Yeah.
Like the 3D Mario was like mind blowing to me. Sunshine was I don't know. I have no words for it. That was like my childhood Mario game that I remember.
Okay.
Um, I have to give credit to where I have my name from. Boomer was originally King Boomer,
Mm-hmm.
and way back when, King Boomer, I'm not sure if you've played, but King Boomer comes from King Boo, which is the final boss of Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube.
Oh, okay.
This is basically like, are you familiar with Luigi's
No,
Mansion?
no, I'm not.
This was the first like twist that they gave in one of the video games where they made Luigi the main character that you play rather
Yeah.
than Mario. So Mario would be kidnapped, he'd be placed sealed away inside a painting, magical ghost painting. Luigi would get invited to this house where he's located by an inviting. It's like, "Oh, you won a house. Congratulations." All a scam, all a ghost scam.
Yeah.
Walks in, gets his ass blasted by ghosts, meets a professor who has like a vacuum that like sucks up ghosts, yada 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 yada, a whole bunch of fucking like ghost busting throughout it took me like 3 months to beat, and I played the game like when I was 21 on an emulator, and
Yeah.
it took me like 4 hours to beat. It was
Oh my
stupid.
God.
Because I would ask my dad every time there was I have a fear of the dark. Whenever there was a new room, it would start off completely dark. So I
Yeah.
would ask my dad, "Can you come and help me until the room is lit up?" So then the ghosts are gone, the room is lit up. I go to the next room and I call my dad back. So went on for 3 months to clear the game.
Oh.
Anyway, last boss, King Boo. I thought, wow, this guy's so cool. He's like just a Boo. Is my favorite Mario enemy of the whole franchise.
Yeah.
Has a big gem on his head, crown sometimes in some iterations. Um, and he was just so cool to me as a kid. It was like the first villain where I was like, oh yeah, he's got him now. I was like on his side. And then a few years down the line, like skip past, I'd say, so that was GameCube, PlayStation 2 I had. I think after that I pretty much just played on my dad's PC, like his desktop, and then I
Yeah.
got like a small little laptop for myself. And then you'd have online gaming for the first time.
Right.
I didn't have a name. I had no idea what to call me. I didn't think my own name was cool enough at the time because as a kid, you don't go around as a kid like, yeah, my name's like fucking Jason. Like
Right.
apologies to any Jasons out there, but uh, you know what I mean. So
Yes.
the name that I picked was King Boo. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm King Boo now. That's my name. And so keep going a few online games further, whatever it may be. And people obviously also have like this thing with this Mario enemy, I suppose. So King Boo gets taken. And I'm like, I'm absolutely distraught, so heartbroken. I'm like, how could anyone do this to me? And so I extended to like, I think it was King Boom, just
Yeah.
added an M, and then it became King Boomer, or like, what was it, King Boober at some point. I think when I was going through puberty, I was like, boobs, King Boober. Yeah,
Oh.
silly shit.
Yeah.
Up until eventually it reached King Boomer, and then I think I've had this one since I was like, I think, I don't know, 14, maybe
Yeah.
12, which is like 14 years ago now. So I'm 28 for the record. So
Nice.
yeah, like just like 10 days ago, just turned 28. Anyways, yeah, so King Boo, so Luigi's Mansion up
Yeah.
there, Super Mario Sunshine up there, World of Warcraft obviously has to
Yeah.
be up there. Oh man, what else?
Now, the
I
one that
think
I always get from people like Veritas and whatnot, I've never played it, was one of the first Zelda games, Arcana.
I completely missed. I say that he's sitting right there. He's sitting on a big frog right there. Link sitting right there.
Yep.
The first one that I played was on the Game Boy, which I think was A Link to the Past. That
Okay.
was my first one. So I never played Majora's Mask. I never played fuck, what was the other ones? Uh I try to at a certain point just pick them up and I don't know, either I haven't like properly given myself the time to learn to enjoy them, or it's
Yep.
just like they don't click.
Right.
I've played Wind Waker completely, which was pretty. Oh no, wait, is it Wind Waker? Yeah, it was Wind Waker. Um and Breath of the Wild, obviously, bomb,
Yeah.
fairy bomb. I haven't played the follow up one. If the name is escaping me now, Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was very much. You had like, I feel like as a kid, if you're in this like Nintendo bubble growing up,
Yeah.
like away from anything else, you have like this trinity of characters that you like worship as a kid, and
Yeah.
it was Mario, Link, or Sonic. That
Yeah.
was the three main guys, and I was just like if you could place like a kid anywhere in between that triangle, I'd be like outside the Mario side of the triangle.
Yeah.
It was stupid. So I like any time I had a different game like Link or like from The Legend of Zelda or
Mm-hmm.
the Sonic franchise, I was just not at all interested because usually like a game from Mario would also like be released or like more
Right.
frequently or something, and I would just have insane replay value for the Mario games. I just
All right.
never got tired of them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had, sorry if I may, very funny anecdote. I had this trip to Turkey when I was very, very young with my parents, and I had my Game Boy along. I had it everywhere I went, everywhere. Like I could not part with it. And we went to this really obviously like very overly obviously looking bootleg store where they had a bunch of stuff that clearly was meant to look original, which obviously wasn't original. And young me goes, "Oh my god, they have Mario Party for the Game Boy," which was just it was just Mario Party. I think was it like did it? I have it in the other room. I kind of want to go check, but it's fine. It was just Mario Party for the Game Boy, but it was a bootleg version. So something with it was obviously fucked, and I didn't notice until I got back to the hotel later with my parents. I plug it in, I play the whole night, play what mom comes in, shove it under your pillow.
Yep.
Up, she's gone, play again, keep playing that, and then I go to bed, I save, I go to bed, wake up the next morning, and everything is gone. The game starts completely from fresh, like as if it
Oh,
was fresh out the
no.
box. And I'm like freaking the fuck out. I don't understand why. I'm like, this isn't working. I play for 20 minutes into a new map, save, close the game again, restart. Every time you shut the system off, it rebooted the
Oh,
game.
no.
And yet still, I liked Mario so much that I played the whole game in one go, so
Oh,
I could just
wow.
finish the whole thing without having to save or close the Game Boy.
Holy
And if I
crap.
did, it was like I left it up like this, so I was scared that if I closed it, it might accidentally like
Right.
shut off, like slide the shut off button or something. It was insane.
Oh,
Anyways, sorry.
that's all
I
right.
trailed very much off. Go on.
That's what I go. So I'm a lot older than you, but I remember, in the arcades playing Donkey Kong, or even on the Atari 2600, we had Mario Brothers, which was Mario and Luigi just basically hopping up on pipes, stopping the crabs and the turtles from eating them. So it's that. So there's a Mario connection, but it's like decades before.
They had this one in, I think it was Super Mario Brothers 3, which I have right there. Actually, I have a poster of a little framed version.
Yep.
Right there, that one. They had a side mode that you could play aside from the actual main game, which was exactly that one. I think just
Yeah.
obviously a bit more freshened and whatever.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, I never got the chance to experience the originals. Obviously, played Donkey Kong when it came out for the Game Boy,
Yeah.
or the remakes. Never played
Yeah.
the original, sadly. But
Nice. So, beyond games nowadays, do you have any time to play any games? I know you spent a lot of time in Tarkov, looking back at your videos on YouTube and whatnot. So you share that same love I have for that game.
Do I have a lot of time recently? No. Then maybe it's the holiday season. I have no idea. Maybe you can tell by the excuse me, bag under my eyes. But it's been awfully busy. It's been insane. I've had work days where I'm. This is like very much a me problem where I just kind of like take too much on my plate to literally. Where I'm like doing a lot of stuff for Max, and then maybe I have maybe one side client who wants like a little project done real quick, but it would take me another 2 hours. But I don't want that to bleed into the next day and take away from Max's time.
Yeah.
So I might as well stay up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. Maybe drink another coffee, and then I might as well download Max's footage. So I might as well stay up, and so you get the idea.
Yep.
It's been very hectic. I'm a very big workaholic. The issue there being is that I love editing like as you said before,
Yeah.
this is your passion. Mine is editing, otherwise I still would not be doing it at all.
Yeah. Well, that explains why you do it, is because you love it. It's that passion, It's like it's not it's not a job to, it doesn't feel like a job to you at this point.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it definitely does, admittedly, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I was very, very young when I started out with it, and it kind of kept following me through middle school, through high school, through everywhere, and it just I kind of just like never went out actively and like looked for an editor's position. I've like always, and this will come up later when we go down the whole pipeline.
Yeah.
But I've always just kind of like fallen into like a good place for editing or somewhere else, and it's always just like sort of worked out. It's not always been easy, that's for sure, but yeah, the fact that it is my passion does definitely help out.
Yeah,
for sure.
And now, just touching on that, so where did editing start for you? Talking about middle school, is that really your first putting together some videos and, throwing things together that way?
So, I could probably go check. I will check actually for you. I have an entire archive. Whoa, archive. This came from archive. Okay. Anyways, I have this entire archive on my own channel, which is all just privated videos from my childhood with my brother. And this goes as far back as at least the ones that are uploaded. Like when I got like a YouTube account. Let me see. Earliest video I have is from September 14th, 2009.
Oh, wow.
Where my brother and I fakely reacted to the BME Pain Olympics, if that rings a bell at all. No? Oh, God. I'm ashamed to admit I was on this side of the internet when I was this young, but this is basically like a guy recording himself like scooping out his own nutsack. I'm very sorry for the graphic image, but this is what I was watching in 2009, so
Oh, my God.
Very, very telling.
Yes.
Anyways. Yeah, I have like a bunch of like very, very old stuff, but it's mostly like these little passion projects where, we come home from school or we don't have anything to do during the weekend, and we see like these cool guys in movies, and like we see in the time Jackass was huge.
Yeah.
Jackass was great. I fucking love Jackass.
Yeah.
We remade a bunch of those in like our backyard by like just smacking into our fence. Like if you have a moment, I can show them.
Yeah.
Throwing ourselves off a chair, rolling into like a bush or whatever else it was. It was.
Oh my God.
Some of them were absolutely so zany and nonsensical.
Yeah.
I have a two-part. I have a two-part privated videos. Each 9 minutes long, called Secret Agent T, where I am like this like little guy that's like with a hood and like a cap, and he gets like this secret mission on a laptop, and it's just me sitting at my desk looking at my computer, and then you hear me over this like really shitty like Dell laptop webcam microphone going like,
your mission today is you need to go find Mr. Slime and kill him.
It's like so stupid. These are all privated, of course, but
man.
And then there's about like 3 Jackass like videos. There's me like dousing a bunch of cotton balls in alcohol and then like lighting that on fire and then freaking loud and throwing it in the sink. There's so much.
Oh man.
Weird things. I might send you like a couple if you want
to
throw that in.
I'll throw them in there, definitely.
And then I'll have to be very picky to make sure that these are like up to date with the newest YouTube guidelines, because it's been a while.
Yeah, so your path is a little different than most of the people in the content creation space who started out doing game footage, uploading that. You were actually creating original content. Pseudo original content.
Original is a term. Original is definitely a term for it. Yep. I roped my friends into this often. I roped my like brother into it, my dad, my mom, and like they were always just like, okay, I guess. And then I would thank you, and I'd have this like little like it was just like a waterproof like shitty like tiny camera,
Yeah.
like 8 MB SD or something. I don't remember. It was awful. And then I go to my computer, plug it in, go on Windows Movie Maker, like put all the presets, and I'm like, I go to my dad, look, I made it. And then they're like, oh, that's great, honey. Upload to YouTube. I don't think they realized I put all this stuff on YouTube until a couple of years later.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd be like okay with if I had kids that I'd be uploading stuff like that at their age.
Oh, and now
This guy cut his nutsack off. What? Yo! Oh my God! Brother of 9 years old. Can you believe this man cutting? Yeah, it's great. It's
oh God,
insane.
Nice. And now, when did it sort of turn to like, hey, I can, this could be a career, something I want to do long term? When did that, sort of click in for you?
Man, I had this whole stage. I mean, you did just say like not a lot of people or a lot of the content creators start with gameplay. I did have this whole thing where I was like, I think it was mostly middle school, and then I'd say halfway through middle school, I transitioned from all those little like wacky homemade movies to somewhat gameplay, somewhat trying to go there. And the first one was just awful. It was just like this weird amalgamation of like Amnesia: The Dark Descent, one of the first builds of Minecraft with my friends, this weird video service that maybe existed for like a year or two called Uvu. This is like lost media or some shit. I have no idea. And then I just like I got very inspired. I think back in the day, I mean, I watched a lot of PewDiePie, but I think the YouTuber I watched the most was Markiplier.
Yeah.
Back in the day, this is like a very stark contrast from what I'm like interested into now, content wise, because Mark is like very wholesome, almost kind of straight to the point. He does a lot for charity. Bigger projects are insane. And I'm just like into this whole like awful meme garbage. It's stupid. But where was I? Shit. Okay, there we go.
How you get started? How you that transition? Markiplier was the one who you sort of, or PewDiePie.
Right. So as I got my like actual first like good setup, that like an actual setup that I could call like a setup, it was like awful. But I played some games with my friends, and I started recording things with them, and it was mostly just for like us, basically, like you didn't have shadow play at this point, I think, but I would just like set up my recording. I think it might have just been Fraps or something, or was it Bandicam or something was it called? It was just this, and we would just play, and then I would just like edit the funny parts, and I'd make memes out of that, and that would go up on my YouTube. But that was literally only, I think, because I went through like a pretty like a detached stage in middle school where I was like my teachers were telling me I wasn't good at it because my math wasn't good. And then I would ask them, why does math matter? And they were like, well, you need to know your aspect ratios and your keyframes and your XYZ position. And I've, to this day, wanted to just like walk back into the school and just like show them like all the list of clients or whatever that like my
millions
portfolio.
Of views. Yeah,
like I think like I don't mean to brag. Let me go look at my portfolio. Like I haven't even updated it for the past like 3 months, but the past 2 years, I think I've amassed 560 million views over 300 videos.
Cow, that is incredible.
So yeah, and I want to just like walk in there and be like, look, but it's just like, and I still suck at math, but it's, anyways, school was like this very weird experimental phase in middle school because I went to an art academy deliberately, where they taught you as just like a one class as like, oh, there's editing and movie making, and they give you like this big, in the days it was like a big shoulder cam that you go out on the road or in like a park with, and you have one of your friends with a microphone, or maybe it's on a boom or wherever. And this was like it was great because I felt like what I'd been doing at home for all these years, I trained for this. So
Right.
I like in every aspect of these projects, I would also always be like a bit of a leader position because I'd just be used to bossing my brother, my mom, my dad around. And I also have a few, like, I think every single video I made during that time is also privated on my YouTube. I uploaded all of it.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can like pick out a few gems that really show the middle school prowess and skill. And then yeah, after that it was just like I flunked my fifth year in middle school because I had cheated on my then best friend. My best friend then was an esports player. She was a chick playing for an esports team for CS:GO, which was so cool to me because I just fucked around at home and I was like I could tell people like, yo, my best friend is a CS:GO whatever. I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, right. Uh, it was all just kind of uh, like it was all fun, very very fun. But I flunked the fifth year because I cheated on one of the final tasks of my art history, and my mistake was I did everything correctly. Like we got called in after lunch. He put like both our assignments next to next. He was flipping pages. He was like, "Yeah, looks fine to me. Looks fine to me." Flips to the last page, both empty. Flips one more page, and her name is at both assignments at the bottom of the page. So,
ouch.
Ouch indeed. Yep. So, bit of turbulence for me and my friend. Bit of turbulence for me and my parents. The teacher completely flunked me through through art history, which dropped my entire grade below the passing grade.
Yeah.
I wasn't the best student. I'm not going to claim that at all. But for the things that I did like, I was very, very into. I was like very into gym, very into English, very into obviously video. Like I forget what the actual like lesson, like the thing was called. It was called
videography.
I think it was just it was just called like audio visual something. I don't. They like to make it sound fancy, but that was basically it. So then I swapped schools to a slightly. We're getting there. Hang on, we're getting there. Slightly like I would say less artfully respected school, but still an art academy of sorts. Still where you go to like learn 3D and coding and like design and all this stuff. This period is a very big black hole for me because this was like at the end of my relationship with my very first girlfriend.
Oh wow.
Whom I had been with for 6 years when I was 14. So that at 20 it was 2021 where we broke up was insane. So that was during this school. I had like a gym jock breathing down my neck every day that I was like, oh, YouTuber, you like attention? You like, oh, you fat, you stuff like that.
Yep.
So I could never like, anytime YouTube is mentioned at school, it was always like, whatever. But I took every opportunity I could to like turn an assignment into a video. So like we had this French final exam where you had to, I'll send you this too, you'll love this. A French final exam where you had to just like do something. And I made two where I made a complete like cinematic cover with my dad and my brother on like a pulley system with a microphone in our garage, covering La Vie en Rose from Edith Piaf, which is a very lovely song. And then like a whole house tour that I completely practiced in French. And I aced both of it, obviously. But turbulent friendships were like everything was kind of fake. Like a lot of the people were just there to be there. A lot of the students hated each other. A lot of the students hated the teachers, vice versa.
Yeah.
Like it was not a very good experience, and I feel like I've blocked out most of it. I have a very very like one very very good friend still from that time, and I think that's basically it that I remember from that time.
Yeah.
Oh, I finished. I should actually send you that too. Sorry, I finished that year. I'm not sure how this is in America. I've never reached this level of education during my time there. at the end of like your last year in middle school here, you have to make this very like big project that you start at the beginning of the year. You work through the entire year, and then at the end you have to present it in front of a jury with like all your findings and your troubles and your fixes and whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And some people are like very creative. Some people make like their own tattoo stuff. Some people make their own 3D animations, their own merch, whatever. Mine was a 2D animation about a little alien, little Martian guy going to space. His rocket crashes. He lands on Mars, and he has to shit. And then his toilet lands on Mars. And then right before he's able to take a shit, his rocket lands on him. That was it.
Okay.
But the reason that this took me a whole year is because I didn't use like an actual proper animating program. I used Photoshop, which you could animate with, but I did everything with a layer because I was like, okay, I'm shit at drawing, but I'm very good at video editing. So what do? Okay, I'm going to draw every frame and then manipulate it in the timeline on Premiere, and that's what I did, and it's still great. I called it Mars, so like it's M, like a little cap, or what do you call it? Like a little quotation mark or whatever. Arse, like ARSE. And the only reason I'm mentioning that is because they showed it at the graduation ceremony in our local town, where all the parents were, all the students showed it on the big screen of like the little Hall of Fame of the most creative things. So I can't recall a lot of times where I could like say, you know, when your parents say like, "Oh, we're always proud of you," you know? Right. This is the only time where I could say where like, well, not the only time. Sorry, I don't want to like offend them. This is like one of the very vivid times where I could like feel like, oh wow, my parents are so proud of me. But you know, if they would hear this, they're probably gonna watch this. Hi, mom. Hi, dad. When they watch this, they're gonna be like, "Oh, now people are gonna think we're assholes and we're never proud of you." And like, they're the best parents I could ask for. Like, you know, we're not gonna talk about the divorce, but you know, it's
those scars are healing still.
The scars are slowly healing. No, but love them to death. Anyways, and then that was middle school, and then we go to high school. This one is a short one. I went to Brussels. This was the Royal Institute of Theatre, Sound and Arts, and whatever the fuck it was. It was the Ritz in Brussels, like our capital of Europe. Wow. You have to submit like an actual thing before you're even allowed to partake. Luck would have it that I joined during the year where they have this very experimental thing going on with a bunch of new teachers. They have like this idea to split the entire class into 4 groups of students who all have their own production houses, so to speak. They all get to name it, and they all get to have the studio, and very cool experience to a degree. It was nice to have like a little studio that we could all like, you know, fuck around with, and we could make our own shows. You'd have 2 or 3 of us like upstairs talking through the headsets. People downstairs with the cameras would hear it. Floor manager, etc. All that. Very cool experience because like you don't, as like, you know, a person of that age, you don't, unless you're already in that industry, I feel you don't get the chance to like experience
be part of production.
Yes, so that was admittedly very, very cool experience. I mostly went for the editing lessons, of which went, to my liking, much too slowly, and they were just much too passive. It was just like, okay, here's the idea, here's your footage, do something. If you have questions, ask me. And it's like, I would always make something, and not to toot my own horn, in comparison to the rest, something that was like clearly like, okay, this guy's done this before, but then they would have like, they would shine in photography, or we had this one guy that could sing really well. So I would have this thing throughout this entire like school where I'd be like the editing guy, up until where I had some issues with the exam roster, where one of the exams for, you guessed it, art history was was that you had to like learn this. Fuck, it was like a 30-40 fucking page bundle of pages of a like stemming from like I'm not even shitting you, like cave paintings from the god whatever knows, like dust in my ass like era, whatever it may have been. That one you needed to know the name, the date, who made it, what area it was in, what like era, what the materials were used, times 40. But they were like 20 cave paintings, then there were like 5 what is it? Forgetting my terms now. Neo
Oh, okay, yep.
ventriloquism or whatever the fuck. Pointillism is what I'm thinking of. But it's just
Sounds awful.
awful. And I was not going to have this. I literally went to the what do you call this? Student counselor, student counselor, to tell them I'm like, guys, I'm here to learn how to get into TV, a production company, to make something. I'm not here to fucking spend 8 hours of my night or whatever. Right. There is no way, and this is literally what I said. There is no way that I'm going to walk into a TV studio with my CV and portfolio on hand, and they're going to be like, "Oh, great, nice. Name me 6 cave paintings and their location and dates." I literally, this is literally what I told them. I was like, "This is not pertaining to anything whatsoever. We are not using this in our current curriculum. We are not using this in our actual projects. There's nothing." There's no reason that I should waste my time studying for this. It was also a very big problem because this was like a fourth of our grade or something. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah, because they need to be as an art school, our students need to know art history and right. So it's that's the thing. But I was like, I am not doing this. Sorry. I'd rather spend all my extra time on the things that I actually need for this occupation.
Right.
And I think I quit. I think I'd say halfway through the year, maybe. I think I was just I did the exams and it was just midterms. The exams came. I had my whole spiel. Did not study. Said I wouldn't study. Didn't study. Immediately, I got the exam. Filled in my name. Went home. I told them that's what I was going to be. Obviously, got flunked. But I was like, that's fine. But then I don't want to be in this school because this is garbage that I don't need to learn.
It's irrelevant.
And the reason I came, again, not to toot my own horn, I really don't need to sound too cocky, but the reason I came here was to advance my editing, and if anything, it slowed it down. So I was like, I'm out. I still know a few of my friends who are now successfully in the TV industry. I have one person who is a permanent camera woman. I have a friend who is a professional grader who sits at football matches and makes sure all the colors for all the TVs for the folks at home are great. And who else? I have 1 or 2 or 3 friends who are now active writers and producers for a few TV shows in Belgium.
Yeah.
Very proud of them. They'll know who they are if they watch. If they watch.
Nice. Now, back then, what were you editing on? Were you editing on Avid or Final Cut or Adobe back then?
Back then it was already Premiere. I think in the order of using stuff, I think it was Windows Movie Maker when I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
Somewhat of a touch of, I'd say, iMovie when I had when my dad had a Mac very shortly.
Yeah.
Then that went to that was it. Basically, it was Windows Movie Maker, iMovie. And then it was, oh God, this is an awful story. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I have to backtrack again.
That's okay.
The first thing I ever used was After Effects. It wasn't Premiere. It was After Effects.
Oh my God.
I looked at, I think it was Markiplier back in the day had this jump scare or horror game compilation, whatever it was. So I put myself as a young boy, through the torture of playing through Amnesia and recording it. I didn't have a webcam back then. But I did this exactly because I was like, oh, I can do this too. And I looked up how to use editing software or what to use because I noticed to make these fun cuts and stuff, I couldn't do it in whatever I wanted to use back then. iMovie was still though very much used by me during my earlier middle school days before I transitioned to the gaming stuff. Because you were you were obliged to, or not obliged. You were I don't want to say forced to, but you were as a student forced to buy a MacBook for the editing purposes. And this was before the Adobe suite was a whole shtick thing. iMovie, and then it was After Effects, and I was I downloaded the trial, and I was like, okay, this has to be it. And I remember very vividly never having any sound with my videos. I always uploaded them in the timeline, and I was like, why am I not getting any sound? Now, anybody who's ever edited in After Effects can tell you I'm unless you like have it set on by default, you don't have sound. Usually After Effects is like for your graphics and stuff.
Right.
Whenever you link something from Premiere to After Effects, unless it's sound like an actual sound layer, it doesn't get turned on. Maybe that's a settings thing related. I'm not sure. But I never had sound. So what I did was with one monitor is just play it on After Effects, look at how the seconds are going, switch to like what is it, Windows of Media Player, I don't remember the name, and like see where the sound lines up, and then try to estimate where that cut would be on the After Effects
my Lord.
timeline to cut it that way. And this was like for 2, 4, 5 minute videos before I realized like, okay, this is probably not like what I need to be using. And then it was Premiere, and then you know the ball kind of got rolling. I kind of like had like a start with a rougher version of a timeline. After Effects is horrible for like workflow, I feel.
Yeah.
But like I kind of like knew the things. I kind of like knew where everything was. Sort of. It took me years before I realized you could like customize the workspace and make your shit more efficient. I bought an ultra wide specifically so I could have one fat bar at the bottom for my timeline.
Yeah.
Some people even like have their whole screen be the timeline and then like have an external monitor, but like I'm not quite ready to have my neck be like this all the time. So oh, where am I? Oh, right, yeah. So anyways.
And now when did you start, you know, so you got through all of that, when did you sort of start coming into this space of with other content creators and stepping into the gaming space? Were you gaming like with Tarkov and throwing up video clips from that?
Oh, dude, let me think. I think the first like do you mean like the first like community that also had like kind of something to do with the editing and like gaming community wise, like maybe
just sort
game
of
or
where did gaming start, and you know, with mixing gaming and editing together to, you know, why did you come on YouTube or Twitch to begin with? Or I guess let's even go back. Did you even come on Twitch to begin with?
I want to say it was. I should probably check. I can probably check. Hold on, let me make sure. Let me get my time. I'm horrible with numbers and shit.
That's
If
all
you
right.
haven't like already guessed, let me check. So, my Twitch, I think I've had since 2014. I want to say. Maybe
Oh, wow.
something around there. And my YouTube I've had. Oh shit, my YouTube I've had since 2008. Okay, so I've had that for a bit longer. I don't recall exactly which was first. I think the first ever mixing I did with a game was actually, let me double check for you. I mean, I want to be sure. I don't want to bullshit. The first like community, like gaming community that I like kind of like was like a part of as like, you know, when people think of Tarkov creators, you have Pest, you have like Veritas, you have One Peg, probably like these are my like topics. Of course, you've got Gingy. I'm not trying to forget anybody, but I don't want to get sidetracked too much. This was like the first like time where if someone would like think of the content creators for the game, I would be one like in that list at the time. This was obviously like much more compressed at the time. This was like did I mention the game yet or not? This is a SMITE, if you're familiar.
No.
You have never heard of SMITE?
No, I haven't.
It's you know what a MOBA is, like League of Legends? League of is top down cam.
Yeah.
SMITE is just third person.
Oh, okay.
But it's like the whole idea is like it's like gods and mythical creatures and deities and whatever that you pit against each other.
Yeah.
But it was still a MOBA. It's like, you know, top lane, mid lane, jungle, bot lane.
Yeah, because I saw those videos on your sort of YouTube channel. So that was sort of your break into community was SMITE. Okay.
Yes. The first one I think that got me like really popular was where I made a video with my brother where he guessed all of the names of the gods. This was in 2014 and it got 21,000 views. So for the day, being like a really small, like stupid kid, that was like, oh my god,
right.
yo.
Yeah.
It was mainly just like known as this like really, from my perspective at least, this really like weird, like off the rails, fucking like way over the top, wacky, loud fucking guy. I think that was basically it. I had this whole like series called SMOTE, basically, where it was just SMOIT, and that was basically what my content already was, but just like injected with like hard coke or something. It was just no camera, no nothing. It was just like all highlight bits of me and my friends, and just like injected with like straight mean juice. It was
Oh,
like so off the rails. These did extremely well, 30K around ish for each.
oh shoot.
Uh, and then I revisited them about like 3 or 4 years later in 2018, and it only got like 1,600 views, which is to be expected. But this was one of my favorite, like one of my more favorite things. I got injected there because I say injected, because I was uploading this YouTube content, and then I think there was a page called SMITE Community on Facebook that invited me to stream for them on their Twitch channel,
Yeah.
and that was, I think, basically like the thing. I kind of got known in the Facebook group itself. I streamed a whole bunch because I was off from school, and I always played it with my friends. I had four very good friends, which were these were like, whenever you think back of like the time with your boys, with
Right.
with the friends during your
Yeah.
gaming era. I think looking back now, I think this was it for me. These are my four friends. If they can watch them, I've lost touch with all but one of them now.
Yeah.
But this was Ray, Brock, Iggy, and Echo. These guys were like I don't know, like a second family. These guys are like my golden era friends.
Yeah.
And that was whoever I always played Smite with. Uh, during these live streams, and I got known on the Facebook page. They eventually gave me admin, so I got known as like this control freak, admin abuse, stuff like this. The
Oh.
whole page had like, I don't know, man, this whole like fucking lore book full of drama and people hating on me and then returning the hate. And I had this very short term, long distance girlfriend from that page who then cheated on me. It was all so like
Oh my
very
God.
weird stage of my life. Very weird stage of my life.
Oh.
And then I basically just broke off from Smite entirely at some point.
Yeah.
Because I think because of all these experiences, I just like kind of left the game for what it was. And I think for anyone who has played that game, this was for, like end of season 2, start of season 3. I think this was during the tank meta, and I was like, nah, I'm out. I don't enjoy the game anymore. And like one whole big side of the community is one toxic and hates me, and so it's like, let me switch games.
Oh
I
shoot.
don't actually remember what I played in between. I want to say it's Sea of Thieves. I
Mm-hmm.
played a whole bunch of Sea of Thieves in between with just Ray and Brock back then, and also Echo. Um, Iggy sometimes. These are still the four golden
Yeah.
people. Um, uh, and then yeah, man, I think I uploaded a whole bunch of Sea of Thieves stuff. I don't. This is like I'm also going through like a divorce at home. We're like moving places.
Oh.
This is all a very like I don't revisit this stage of my life
Yeah.
often.
Oh
Um,
man.
I think the most fun I had during this time was like recording stuff with my brother, which I often did. It was either Smite or some like really awful garbage where it
Mm-hmm.
was like, ask us 100 questions, and I had like 200 subscribers on YouTube, and I was like, oh my god, I'm famous. I put on like a nice shirt, and I was like, hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy you could be here. Leave some like questions for us. And
Yeah.
then like a couple of months later, I put on a bow tie because it was the reverse of my real name, which is Tebow.
Okay.
Tebow bow tie. I prefer Boomer because it's like a lot of people don't nail the pronunciation, and it
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of a high school or of
Oh
a middle
God.
school teacher that I had who always used to say T-Boo, and she used to scare the shit out of me and always puts me back there and was like, just take the Boomer, just
Yeah.
use
Boomer's easy. Oh
that.
man.
There you go as well. That dude, the OK Boomer thing, that's also a whole nother fucking barrel of monkeys. Anyways,
Oh.
uh you got to keep me in check here, dude.
Yeah. No worries.
I'm
Now, when
like
did
off the
you?
rails.
After all, this whole into Smite, Sea of Thieves, when did you start thinking, hey, I can, maybe I'll try to make a career out of this. Maybe I'll do some freelancing, get, and start editing other people's content. Where did that come into play? And what made like was there a reason you wanted to do that, or were you looking to do editing in the out into the more of a TV space?
So I think this was during my time in middle school where I was just about 15, 16ish, and my parents desperately wanted me to get a job because in their defense I was just like a bum who just sat on his Xbox all day or
Yeah.
his PC. And they were always in I'm not sure if you have this abbreviation in Canadian English or American English, HORECA, which is like
Yeah.
hotel, restaurants, cafes.
Okay.
Do you have like an abbreviation for that in industry? Is it like
Not really. It's just the hospitality industry, really.
hospitality? There you go.
Yeah.
It's basically just that. It was always just like restaurants or hotels or sitting at like the what do you call it, secretary booth, like fixing like all this admin stuff.
Yeah.
And it was never for me. I always like didn't like talking to people. I didn't like doing the admin. I wasn't good at it. And the food service industry was always just like, you know, you get a lot of shit where people think like, oh, when someone is like customer is king, you got to do what they say. You haven't been in the back end of it in some places where the chef is just an abusive asshole or the owner is just a greedy.
Yeah.
I was almost going to use a very bad word, but like, you know, so these were like my first experiences, and I very quickly realized that this is not something that I'm A, cut out for, 2, want to do, or 3, you know, want to even be paid for in the first place.
Right.
So I just looked. I think I just looked for like open little projects or jobs or people that were maybe like looking. I don't remember how I got my first guy. I think it was just I reached out to him via email like once or twice. This was just a guy that went to like companies or offices, and they like recorded testimonials or job recruitments and stuff. And he would like, I don't know, once or twice maybe a week, he would offload 1 or 2 to me, would pay me 120, $200 for like 3-minute videos of like a bunch of graphics and stuff. There were maybe a couple of iterations, but like this was like my first ever like experience really with like paid editing work.
Yeah.
I tried to do my own thing for a while, which was I was like way too young. I tried to like get into it way too fast. I contacted a military base that wanted to record a new like, I don't remember the exact one, but it was like a new jet that they had, which was completely covered. You're gonna love this. Completely covered in Darth Vader paraphernalia.
Okay.
And the pilot himself had like his code name was like Vader with like the whole thing, and like they wanted, as the jet was pulling up, they wanted the
and 16-year-old you were trying to
So I'm standing there with my photography camera with not my filming camera. So I'm just standing there like shakily putting this like thingy right, like making sure like my girlfriend who's there, because my girlfriend's along because this is in the French part of Belgium, and I don't speak, because I went to the States, I don't speak a lick of French. So she had to like completely like keep them busy as I was fucking with it. Anyways, horrible. I went into that way too fast. Like I very quickly also noticed I like it behind the computer and not like at the camera myself. Like I don't enjoy it too much. This was also very prominent already when we had the what do you call it? It's escaping me now, but I'd known, like I'd had like a gut feeling that I didn't want to be behind the camera rather than behind the screen. So that kind of only like solidified it, really. After that, I got hired for 2 months by I'm not sure if like it really doesn't really matter. I'm not gonna slander them or anything. For a production company called Jack and Charlie, just run by these like 2 older dudes, 40s, I think. They started at MTV like way back in the day, like recording all that sort of crazy stuff, and they just now had basically an upscaled version of like what I did like for my first like guy. So I would literally just come in. This was a TV. You can find this on YouTube. It's called Master Cooks. This is basically like really shitty bootleg version, and that's none of their fault, by the way, but really shitty bootleg version of Master Chef. I'm sure you're familiar. That was for 2 months, where I would just like sit in a nice little glass booth, layer in a soundproof. It would just like go ahead at the timeline. Very nice. Learned a lot there. But I also mostly learned that TV also wasn't my thing. It's very restrictive. You also have a producer breathing down your neck who wants it exactly like the script or how they recorded it. You need to use an exact sort of sound that was bought specifically for this episode. And that was 2 months starting.
Yeah.
But they were so happy that they kept me for another 6 in the end.
Oh, nice.
And then I carried the entire like season basically. It was like 19 episodes or something, or 24. I don't remember. Awful fucking show. If the host of this hears it, awful show. The intro is basically just like sitting there on like her pottery. Is like, yeah, I do pottery. The whole show was just to sell her pottery.
Okay.
It was just like I make these plates, buy my plates, and then the show starts. But it was like clearly everyone at that studio was like, why do we bother? Like, you know, we were getting paid.
There was no passion. It was just a paycheck.
Yes, it was a paycheck. It was very much for me. I think out of that one, it was mostly like the experience of being like, okay, this is what the TV side is like. This is how an ingest works. This is how a local server works. How deliverables work to like a bigger client. So I did pick all of these up there. It was like I got more experience there in my six months ish than I did at like the Royal Institute.
Right, because that's real world. That's how the real world edits and the workflows go along, and that was worth its weight in gold. And to add into that, you know, because if you went through the other path of just video game editing, no background, teach yourself, you wouldn't have any of that background, which in the end, it really does help you with your final product that you're creating.
Yep, absolutely. That was basically it. Yeah, I no cave paintings either. No fucking cave paintings
or anything like that. Yeah.
No dates or anything like that. Oh no, plenty of dates. So for sure, deadlines a lot. No, but this was very fun, and I only sadly found out at the end of those 6 months that a friend from the school that I just had stepped out of was running what do you call it, an interim, like a little like where you go as a student, you work for a company for a short amount of time to work
intern.
up real world intern.
Yes,
as an intern, one studio above us, one floor above us, and also in a TV studio.
Yeah,
but as a writer, I think. Anyways, very very small world again.
Yeah. And now, when did things? When did you start coming into this creative space that we live in today?
I have. That's actually it. I have, I think, one more workspace to stop at before we get there. I think, if you'll bear with me. I know we've been here for like an hour and 20 minutes. This was when my girlfriend was studying in high school, and I was just there along for the ride because we wanted to share a dorm together, a studio. This was a very, very small studio with a guy exactly my age, a girl who was very good at digital design and, client relations. And this ran pretty well, I'd say. They took me on board. I seemed solid. I did all their stuff. I pulled a whole bunch of projects together for them at last minute and stuff. They were very happy. I, however, I think was dealing with some anxiety issues, severe anxiety issues at this time, where I had this insane imposter syndrome where, everyone else my age was still kind of stuck in school, and what am I thinking, skipping ahead, and I'm already TV, and now we're doing these.
Well, I was going to ask you, at that point, how old were you? Because you're taught, over here on this side of the pond, your age, you're still in school. Nobody's out into the workforce like you are.
Yeah, no, I quit 6 months into my first year of high school. I don't have a high school degree or anything, but I do have a very fat portfolio at this point.
Exactly.
Which in this industry I feel is more beneficial to have than just a piece of paper that says you finished high school.
Right. Yeah.
To make it very redundant or reductive. But no, it's pretty widely known in this industry. It's a nice portfolio of previous 100%. Work will get you anywhere better than
that piece of paper. Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
So you're at the studio now with the
so we're at the studio now. Exactly. Thank you. And this is where my girlfriend's going to school. I have now quit my school, so I'm what the fuck am I gonna do? I work for, I want to say it's close to a year, maybe 2, for these guys now, and this is pretty buttery. It's pretty decent. The edits are solid enough where I know what I'm doing, but they're also challenging enough where it's just making me step out of my comfort zone, which was nice. But then we had this, as I was struggling with my anxiety, we had this, and I mean this in no derogatory way at all. We had this very flamboyant gay black guy, and the only reason I add the black to that is because they're very like in my experience they were very like
Over the top.
oh my god, honey, yes, yes, tell me all about your day, stuff like this. So he was absolutely the most wonderful, cushy, like gentle person I could ever like experience. It was tall, huge, like big guy, but like a fluffy little pillow. It was like a marshmallow. It was insane. So every day after I go home from work on the hour-long train ride from work, I like he always texts me on WhatsApp like, "Hey babe, was today okay? Wasn't it too challenging? You have any issues?" And I like literally call the guy. I'm like, "Hey dude, hey babe, how are you? How was today?" And I don't even care if maybe he had a crush on me. I don't even know, but it was like he was a very strong like pillar for my anxiety back then, like to make sure I felt at home and comfortable. And at some point that kind of like backfired where there was like a bit too many miscommunications where it was like from one other party. I don't remember exactly. This is all like very blacked out at this point, or like drowned out, where it was just we couldn't find each other anymore. It was just like he felt like I felt like he felt I had bad intentions. So it was just like this whole tangle of soup where it was just like we couldn't talk anymore, really. And then at the same time, and this was the catalyst, sadly, for this one, is we had a very, very big recording day with a bunch of CEOs from like some of the biggest brands in Belgium and around. I'm pretty sure. Are you familiar with Food Maker by any chance?
No.
It might be local. I have no idea if it's national. It's just like a healthy food brand, whatever. Big CEOs, all back to back to back. Needs to go fast. Needs to go quick. I'm there to take the SD cards from the cameraman, shove them in the PC, unload them, give them back. That's it. We go. Okay, all right. Everything's on a hard drive. Everything is set. Everything's good. We all good? Okay, wrap. Everything clean. Go home. Blah 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 blah. We have dinner. We celebrate. Well, all good. I go home, offload the stuff off of the hard drive. I live in a very shabby studio that is like it's just okay. It's like $600 a month for two people. It's perfectly fine to do, but it's like there's like I could piss in both my toilet, my sink, and my shower and I don't even have to turn. Basically, is how small this place is. There's like holes in the ground, shit, all fucked. This had to be the night where we find out that our next door neighbor, when they turn on the top right furnace plate of their stove, the whole building short circuit.
Oh no!
This happened during the night while we were sleeping. The only thing I have on at night is like a fan because I have tinnitus. I can't sleep with no noise. Otherwise I hear that. I wake up. Why is my fan not on? Why isn't the light working? Why doesn't... oh my fucking god. I check. I click the PC on. PC works. I check the folder. It is all corrupted. The full 756 odd something gigabytes is all fucked. All screwed. First, I think one of the first panic attacks I've ever had in my life. Awful. I call the guy in complete panic, tell him like I have no fucking clue what happened. Only come to find out later, obviously, what actually went down. And then it was only through a couple of like reassuring talks later from friends and therapists where it was like, why, as a video production company, do they not have a local offload backup server?
Right.
Like,
why is it on you? Why is it?
Why is that on me? So in a sense, while I'm like, okay, well, I just got really fucking unlucky with the short circuiting and whatever, because it was gonna take like a day and a half to this is a hard drive. It's not like a very fast one. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Actually, why, as a professional studio, do they not have an offload rack or like a backup server? So that's where that ended. They were like, okay, you've been acting really weird like the past month or so because of the whole thing with the miscommunication.
Yeah.
This very, very flamboyant, fun, helping guy was also best lifelong friends with my boss. So as supporting as he had been up until that point, I would never have been a sudden replacement for his lifelong bestie. So they had to choose one. They had to blame one guy, and it was me. I had the worst meltdown of my life. Called my mom, called my dad, called my girlfriend, crying on the train home. Anyways, that's where that ended. Went into a bit of a, I don't want to call it depression, but went into a bit of a very sad couple of months, where I would just like keep to myself, play some
Yeah.
games with my friends. I wouldn't do a lot for myself and passion projects. And then we go into, I think, let me double check, because you mentioned it before. Yeah, that was basically in I've now like had my, I now had my spiel, my dramatic like let down and meltdown and nervous breakdown. Now let's focus and make some cool stuff. And then I started streaming again. I did a 24 something odd like Dark Souls event where I shaved my head, waxed
Oh
my
my
legs.
God.
We raised like $700 for me, which was great because I myself wasn't earning any money at the
Yeah.
time. Smoked a shit ton of weed. And then after that, I think I started making just like Tarkov like little bits. I think if you look on my channel, you look up Tarkov Bits. These were basically what the SMITE highlights were. It was basically just like the highlights of my game, and each clip had some sort of like meme juice injected
Yeah.
into it or something. That was kind of like my thing. And I only got into Tarkov because I think originally it was because of Pest. I don't remember. I don't remember where I saw the game
Yeah.
first. I really, really don't remember where I saw it first.
And then you also created some
I-
music videos too back then. You had some music snippets or
Yes.
something from Tarkov.
Yes, I think it was like it was like Macho Mosen Man
Mosen.
and what was it? What was the other one? I don't remember. These were like parody Tarkov
Yeah.
songs. It was these were great. I don't remember at all what my first interaction was with Tarkov, but I do remember that Pest was like the guy that I watched for the guides and like for as most people did. Like Pest used to be like Tarkov guru for the guides and stuff, and where do you go and where. That was how I got into Tarkov, like mostly because I remember giving it a try originally and then going, "Fuck this! This is way too hard. I'm a little little Mario platformer guy. I'm not built for this. I'm not built for this." And then I realized, like, okay, there's like you get your first like shitty shotgun kill on a Chad, and you're like, "Oh my god,
moment,
there it is. That's the high. That's the high
factor.
That's the high I'm going to be chasing for the next 5,000 hours." So basically, that's where I got hooked, and I like learned all the ammo and all the guns and all the building and all of that. There was a time when I worked for Pest where I could just like rattle all the quests off the top of my head because of how often we went over them.
Yeah.
And I haven't, dude. I genuinely haven't played in. I think I'd have to say it's at least a year now. I think.
Yeah. And that was
I just haven't had time.
Was that your step back into editing then, sort of that after that break, coming back and starting playing around with your sort of what your SMITE videos were now Tarkov style, coming into that, and now when did you start starting to put out the feelers again to, hey, let me do some freelancing?
I didn't basically. I was just really enjoying doing my own thing, and I wouldn't say I was banking on like making like the live streaming thing work. In a way, today I still sometimes think like, could I have made it work if I stuck with it? But I just did my own thing, what I wanted for a few months, and then Pest had, while I was like, I think already, I want to say about 1,200 hours into Tarkov.
Yeah.
Pest sent out a tweet that he was looking for an extra editor.
I remember that, and he was basically anybody who wants to apply, apply.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, oh, dude, I could never. I make some stupid, like really dumb shit. I could never. And my girlfriend at the time was like, why not? Just do it. You miss every shot you don't take. Why not? And I was like, no, it's like, there's no way. There's so many better people. There's no point or whatever. And she convinced me. I hope she hears it. My girlfriend convinced me to send the form, fill it in, send my application, and surprise, surprise. I don't know, like a good month or so, maybe later, Pest is in my DMs offering me like an interview that I've been through the first stage. I think if I recall, it was like 550 people that went through the whole that sent in a form, and then it was like. I don't want to like say false numbers,
Right.
but I think it was 15, 30 or something that like were able to make like a test edit basically for them.
Yeah.
And then out of those, it was I think 3 guys, which were me, another guy that I've never met in my life, and Narfa, who is still currently the only editor for Pest.
Yeah.
That was it basically. And then he was like, "Yeah, we're cool. We're happy. Frankie told me. I'm not sure if he recall. I don't recall if he said this during the podcast. Frankie said he liked me during the interview process because the editing wasn't exactly on par yet. It wasn't just quite there yet, but it was funny. And he was like, we can teach someone to edit, but we can't teach them to be funny. And they were like, okay, that's it. That's fine."
Oh,
And so it's self-evident if you look on Pest's, like, you know, the meme videos, it's all there. All the meme videos were there. I think I still very much vividly remember Pest's favorite meme being the getting cucked one by his, that's in his intro. It's like where you ask your dad and he's like the sad cucked dad on his shoulder crying. That was those.
Oh man.
Good times.
And
Yeah,
that
man.
started,
This is
that started it.
that pretty much started the whole online spiel that's been ongoing for it'll be close to 4 years now.
Wow.
That's
And then
that's
I even
been a while.
did you even make an appearance in the Klyada video too, or Klyada? I thought that was
Yeah,
you. It's like, oh my
I did.
god.
This was when I was going through a bit of like a lonely phase where I was like, I see all these people doing this cool stuff and I'm sitting here alone. I was very far away from my parents.
Yeah.
Very far away from any family, and I was like, man, I kind of miss being, because this was right after like 2-3 jobs that was in an office where you'd go in, you're like, hey everybody,
Right, it's a
how's it
social
been?
aspect, yeah.
Right. And I've never really been a social guy. I've usually always been very like locked up in my room, and I'm very content with my own space and my own being.
Yeah.
And the most like I've ever like enjoyed that is when my girlfriend is also just there. You know the concept of being alone together, just doing your own thing. That's like kind of like that was always our thing through like school.
Yeah.
And I worked for Pest for a while, and I just like realized like I really miss like kind of doing this whole like employee thing, like, hey guys, like I had like this office atmosphere. But we had these like we had these meetings. We had sometimes we played games together. We asked often, but you know, Pest is a busy guy and he's also a workaholic, so not a lot of time. But we did play on the off occasion, which was fun. I've lost my train of thought. Help me out.
Just work. You sound like you were working alone, and now you needed some human contact. So maybe
right.
The Klyada
so
video.
the Klyada video was literally they were like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna just ship him out. We're gonna get him out to Australia. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. We're dropping everything, and because it was like, oh, you feel lonely? All right, you know, fuck. We'll just get him out here. Why not? Screw it. If it was just like, you know, sped up to make sure like I wouldn't go crazy, fine. But anyways, I went. I have a horrid fear of flying because of my time in the States where we went back and forth.
Oh, okay, yep.
I never used to have a fear of flying, but my mom used to sit next to me and she would just be like, okay, sweetie, don't worry. And we're just going to hold hands and we're going to take off and we'll be there soon. And then as soon as the plane starts going, she'd be like death gripping my hand and going like,
oh no.
Like, so I'd as a kid be like, oh my God, this is something I need to like absolutely fucking fear. So anyways, fear of flights. Off to Australia. I land, meet Mike. He picks me up in the airport. We have a short little drive over to a random like warehouse somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. I'm gonna like a sledgehammer to the back of the head or something. It's like, this is where the editors go that are no longer happy or something.
Yeah.
This was I think we met up with Pest first at his place. Huge, beautiful place. And this was before the whole like shed was built that he like records in now. We met up there first. He was like just off of a nap too. It was like, oh hey, how's it going? All right, let's freshen up. Go to this warehouse. Meet Michael's brother as well, who's filming. Meet Nick Tacula, whom I now still interact with on a daily on Twitter. Lewis was there. The other ones are escaping me now. Bunch of like Aussie content creators locally, I think, from Adelaide, who just wanted to come over and help. and like a professional dance crew that they practiced the dance
So
with
hang on. So your
beforehand.
first visit to seeing Pest was there to. Oh my God.
Yes, it was well, it wasn't there too, but it was like I think I was there for 12 days in total.
Yeah.
But it was literally like within the first like 2 to 4 hours or something. It was just like land. Hi Mike, go to Pest. Hi Pest. Hey Kiki. Hi kid. And we go, and then now we're recording for the entire day. And oh, Killada, awesome video. Like I'm very happy to have been a part of that.
Yeah.
John B, by the way, big ups to John B, dude. Dude,
What a great guy, man.
What a guy. Met him so many times in real life, and every time I feel bad because he's always just like, it's the best editor in the world. Big ups to Boomer. It's just like
his energy,
he's
man.
great.
That guy is so
I
positive.
love him so much.
Yeah,
his editing, by the way, like it's so unique. I could never even try to imitate it. Anyways, yeah, I had a little give a little bit of glaze to our little boy there. He was commissioned like a while before, I think, to make it with Pest.
Yeah.
It went through a whole bunch of stages before it was like what it was.
Yeah.
But I remember on the day we had these very big signs for Pest to read like the lyrics off of.
Yeah.
So it was just like Michael was just standing there with these huge like it was all there, like we come from Australia.
Yeah.
All of it was there, and Pest could just not nail it. It was so it was just like we were just standing there, just like get it right. But it was very fun. It was like all the dancers were great. Everyone was just helping out. When we weren't on the set, we were just having a talk.
Yeah, nice.
Very fun day. And then after that, there was a few more videos. There was like the one in the zoo that we went to. It wasn't too popular.
Yeah.
But like we went to the zoo. We basically did some stuff off camera. It was a very fun visit. We also went to my ever first Dreamhack in Melbourne, which was insane. This was a 9-hour drive with like Pest's, like he made a video off of this with Pest's like huge like I don't remember the name. It was like this big car, huge car, like modded out the ass. With this big like platform on the back where the Killada was placed on, strapped in, 9-hour drive, and I was like, 9 hours? We're gonna drive
5 countries if we're home doing that.
Literally, we're like driving. I'd be in fucking Sweden, or I don't even know where I'd be. And they were like, "Oh, that's like it's nothing, mate. Yeah, it's nothing for us, mate." So I am like I slept through half of it, I think, but once we got to like the more Melbourne part of it, I saw like the world's biggest koala or the world's biggest boot, whatever. Like every like 200 miles, they have this like little one thingy that you can visit.
Oh man.
Melbourne was great. Also, the very fond memory of the camping video I did with him. That was also very cozy.
Yeah.
I very much appreciated that.
Oh,
I always look back on it thinking like, was I too awkward? Was I too weird? Was I too like? I always have this thing of like wanting to fit in everywhere. So.
Yeah. Oh, and how's Michael? Michael seems like he's a funny character too.
Mike's great, dude. Mike was, where you had, because Pest was obviously like this firefighter army guy, I think for the past 8 years, and now he's just like, content creator, still playing an army game. And then Mike joined us. I don't actually remember when Mike joined us on the pipeline, but I think it was still within the first year, I want to say. I'm not entirely sure.
He seems like a total different character, just sort of like laid back, loose, It was just,
So yeah, where Pest was very strict and we got to get it done and we have to do this. Michael was very much his right-hand man, but he was also just like the guy like, okay, take a chill pill. Let's just like take a step back for a moment and let's just
Yeah.
He was very level-headed. He was also a bit to be expected, kinder. But Michael's just an incredibly charismatic, incredibly
that's a great word,
smart and charming guy. I had the pleasure of having a sleepover at his house when I was over. I met his family, met his wife, his kids. They were so great. Michael told me at the end that his kids would remember who I was for the rest of their lives, which was like that warmed my soul for the entire trip back. Mike was great. I had like a lot of talks with him while I was over at Pest during a bit of the tougher times.
Yeah. Nice.
So he was not to be underestimated, like a crucial part of the team.
And now was Frankie there too, or was Frankie doing all of his editing from South Africa?
No, Frankie was in South Africa the
Okay.
entire time. You had Frankie in South Africa, you had me in Belgium, and then a couple doors over you had Narfa in Germany.
Yep. You said, you were in Australia, you got to go to Dreamhack. How was that experience? Was that your first sort of gaming convention type thing?
No, not at all.
Oh,
it was
okay.
the first like gaming convention away from home. It was the biggest one. Was it the biggest one? I don't want to call it the biggest one. No, it was not the biggest one, but it was like fun to experience, like on the complete opposite side of the globe, how they do it there, and it was just like we brought the Killada out there. We put it on the inner courtyard. Had the trunk open with this big beefy like speaker just blasting the Killada song 24/7.
Oh my Lord!
And it was fun because one of the things I like to always advocate for is creators like to like bring forward their editor in their content. They always like to. I have an issue where content creators like to try and kind of like
hide their editor,
not purposefully so hide it, but also just conveniently not like mention like if they had a big hand in the video and stuff. I sort of things like that. So when we did that, for example, and people come up to Pest. It was great for him to then go like, oh, this is my editor, Boomer, and I get to go like, oh, you've seen the meme series? Oh, dude, the lamb chop edit, I fucking love it. It's great to hear. I signed a guy's keyboard, which was like the first thing I've ever signed in my life. It was like, dude, you're Boomer. I love the video. Could you do me it was in Australia, so I was like, can you do me a favor? It was like, can you sign my keyboard? And it was like, dude, absolutely, of course.
So
great.
That was good. Oh, sorry.
Go on, sorry. No, I was going to say I met Pest's parents too, so they were also super kind. Yeah,
nice.
super kind.
So that's good to hear that, the creator letting you put your own spin on your edit versus the, in the TV studio, you have to follow guidelines. If
Absolutely.
So that's good to hear that. And then having multiple editors, everybody has their own different spin and take on how they create their video.
Yes, this was. I also had this very much like this, where we had each of us has their strength. It was like if it was like Pest had a kind of funny like advertisement or meme edit or something. It wouldn't even kind of be spoken, or it would be given to me.
Yeah.
If it was something that was like kind of like already grounded, maybe like the Raid series or something like a bit more. Standard Pestily brand, it would be Frankie, because he would be the head editor. He'd be like kind of this middle ground. He'd have this nice balance. And then you'd have Narf, who was mostly, I think he was like for the sponsors, for the merch, for like the cooler like advertisements for the bigger events, because he had After Effects on lock. Like Narf was a fucking robot. He was insane. And I think this was also one of Pest's reasonings when he came to like when he was like shrinking the team down a whole bunch. Frankie was already kind of going on with his editing group, so that was like nice and going. And then you had Narf, who was just like, for his brand, the obvious choice would have been like to have like the guy that was great at making his stuff look very polished.
Yeah.
Memes are one thing, but they don't, get you all the brand deals, I think.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That probably impacted the decision in the end.
Yeah. And now when it comes to, a video, did sort of Pest pitch an idea and say, here's what I want, and then record it, or you grab the clips and then you basically build it out based on sort of his idea? What was sort of the workflow?
Dude, I'm going to be completely honest. It's been so long, I would have to really think what it was. We would just have like our meetings on Mondays, like all together. We would just be like, okay, here's the week plan. We have this lined up. We have, oh God, I don't remember what the workflow was. I think we used Monday was the platform. Kind of like Notion, if you're familiar.
Yep.
Similar thing. I think we used Monday back then. And it was just like, it would just be a project. You would just be like assigned to it. Your brief would be there. The link to the footage to download it would be there. You just grab everything. If you have questions, you just tag Pest in the editor channel, in the private Discord, and that's it.
Okay.
And then that, like you said, the difference between TV and editing was just like so phenomenally huge. Where at TV was just like, you're basically, as an editor, to make it very like, to give it an example, you're basically just like filling a mold. You're just like constantly like, okay, this is what I need to do. Okay, fill that mold. Okay, let's say this one. It allowed for no creativity whatsoever. And then you come into the online editing space where the creator wants you to put in your creative input into the content, and you're like, okay, I can do that. And so it was great. Like you said before, everybody had like their own spin on it. It was fun. All the people in the community, as far as I could tell,
Yeah.
even if we didn't have our little avatars pop up on the side of the video, people could tell who made the video based off of the editing style. And I think as an editor, that's like definitely something you want to strive for. Is like, you don't need to be the best. You don't need to be the like the sickest looking. But I feel like if you have this certain thing unlocked where people know, oh, that's Boomer. That's like you've like done it. You've done well, I think.
And that's the nice thing about, just from looking from the outside versus the TV production editing, is you're part of the community when you're working with these content creators, for the most part, that's a nice relationship, more interaction going back and forth too.
There's none of that at all in TV.
No.
It's literally just you have your boss. He's like, okay, look, here's your brief. Slams a bunch of papers on your desk. Here's the link to the server. This is what the client wants for their TV show.
Yeah.
Do it. That's it. And then that's literally it. You literally walk in, you make the video that they want, and then that's basically it.
Yeah.
It's the editor equivalent of factory work, basically.
Right, exactly. And then, in my normal job, we used to do a lot of work with a lot of, ESPN's, MTVs and whatnot. And it was interesting to see, like, as you're growing up, so, I want to work for ESPN or MTV, but it's just a factory, and the pay's not great, but you're working at MTV, and that's how they get everybody in. Once you get your foot in the door, it's like, okay, this is not the best, and then people branch off and find their own paths.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then after Pest, what was your sort of next? Did you end up was Max your next sort of client you were rolling into?
So after Pest, I think it was just like I had basically Pest was my first like actual full-time online remote job. This was like I started, I think, as Corona was hitting. So everyone was forced to their confined to their spaces. For me and my girlfriend, of course, who have been inside their room for the majority of their lives, this was great. Nothing
exactly.
changed for us. Right. But there is, of course, a bit of a difference between this whole time that I spent inside making like these little stupid passion projects and streaming, but not earning any money, and then obviously earning good money, but being very, very busy. This was like I didn't have weekends off. It was just like we keep going, and then at a certain point we split between. I think it was we were all like, hey, we could really use like a weekend off sometimes, where we just like made this shift, where it was like, okay, everyone has like a weekend off once in a while, and we cover. Because like clear from the content as well back then, Pest was just like rolling. It was just like recording, pumping. It was just like Frankie this, Narfa that, Boomer this. It was just like we were just going content train nonstop. Especially during the times when there was like a subathon or an event going on for Starlight or something. These were the busiest times. Or like the tournaments were also incredible. This near the end, I was very, very exhausted and burnt out. And I respected Pest's decision back then to like what his choice was. Yeah. And it was also only until like later that I like really like had like vivid panic attacks over it, because I was like, oh wow, this happened like out of nowhere, because we were like kind of close to getting new contracts. So I was like, okay, we're fine. I didn't start looking for any new jobs because I was like, I'm just gonna do this for another while. Yeah, sure. We're just good. This is great. Why would I look for another job? I'm happy with what I'm doing. But alas, and then after that really like kind of hit me like a truck. I kind of went through the same thing that I went through after I lost the whole disk drive full of footage. And I just kind of just did my own thing. Kind of kept to myself again. Streamed once in a while, made my own stuff again for some Tarkov things. And then I just like updated my portfolio. I just made like a whole bunch of stuff on like YouTube jobs and stuff. Uploaded all the videos I've made so far. And literally I wasn't even looking. I don't remember how long it was. I can probably check on my LinkedIn actually what the time frame was in between how long I was depressed for. Let me check the dates. I quit Pests like end of 2022, like I'd say November, maybe December-ish, and then I started at Max's in January the next year. So it wasn't that long. It was like a month or two. And he just messaged me. He was like, "Hi, I'm looking for an editor." Like, actually, here, let me look up the actual thing he said, if you like. Because I at this point, at this stage, where I was, I did not at all. I was not at all for TikTok. This was like a very like TikTok is new.
Right.
It's like invading everyone's privacy. What I was like, there's spyware. But I was like already. I don't spend a lot of time. I didn't spend a lot of time on my phone as it was. My boyfriend, my brother, my brother at the this is awful because back in the SMITE community, I had this whole like incest inside joke going on. It was awful. Anyways, my brother was let me see if I can find the thing. Sorry. My brother tried to get me onto like Instagram at the time, and I was like, I don't want to be on Instagram. I'm like just on my computer. I'm fine. It's like, no, look, and you got all this cool stuff, and eventually, nowadays, I constantly sit on Instagram to where like my algorithm is so cooked, it's absolutely volatile. And I kind of had the same thing with TikTok, where I was like, I really don't want to like learn all the buttons and learn how the thing works, and I don't want to like have another app that gets me into doom scrolling, and you know. So I was very put off from TikTok, and I was not at all on it. And so then Max messages me. Here it is, the 11th of November 2022. He says, "Hello, I'm looking for a video editor and really like your portfolio. We do educational content, both long and short form. Are you interested? Thanks, Max." And that was it. And then I just replied like, "Hey, yeah, absolutely. Let's try something out. We'll have a call." We had a call. We had a test edit.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I tweeted this recently. The first video I made for him, which was like the test edit of like a Coca-Cola tasting, has 18 million views now on his channel.
Holy cow. And now let's back up a second. Who is Max? So
Max is just Max Klymenko is a Ukrainian creator who is originally from Ukraine, but he's lived in the UK for 12 years now.
A completely different content creator than video gaming and everything.
Like no games. Like there's maybe once in a blue moon we'll have like some sort of a close collaboration with like a tennis game or maybe Formula One but no, there's no like this is like Max does a lot of things with big brands and the economy and people's perception of the economy, and he goes out and asks people questions about their opinion on brands and consumerism, and then it is my task to make it not awfully boring. It's my task to like make it, a bit gamified, add some sound effects, make it fun, make it pop, etc. That's
now,
basically
I saw one video where you're out there with a ladder. Are you helping shoot some of the content too, or he's got other people shooting content? And
no, he has Lucas on board, which is his videographer for close to 4 years now. And Lucas also does his own thing. He's also a producer and a film writer on his own accord. But we. Like the thing that you saw was just when he was over in Belgium for 2, 3, 4 days, and we went to Bruges, my local city center, and put up the career ladder as the series is known, to just like have a little chat and be like, oh, this was specifically for the TikTok awards, but we had a whole another video planned. But ironically enough, Lucas lost one of the SD cards, so. One of the videos where I'm in is also it keeps happening, man. It keeps happening.
And now with his content mainly being TikTok, was that a big adjustment for you to have to sort of wrap your mind around creating content for these small windows?
Yes. Coming from Pest, this was like such a big switch because Pest was always, and I think very rarely, it was only towards the end where we started the Pestily Clips channel, where we uploaded like actual short form because YouTube was also pushing this at the time. This was like such a big switch because it was always in YouTube's horizontal format. It was always long form. Very rarely did we have anything that was like under 2, 3, 5 minutes. And then for Max, everything is almost under a minute and a half. The long forms sometimes are like maybe 12, 13, 20 minutes sometimes. But we only have like a long form maybe once in a month, maybe once every 2 months. But the short form is like pretty much every day, at least 1 or 2 short forms. And the adjustment for TikTok was mostly just like, what are as an editor, I have to think like, okay, where are the buttons and where can't people not see my thing? So you have the overlay and stuff. And the more technical side of things aside, TikTok's like, I would say, consumer side of things does somewhat run a bit differently than it does on Instagram. There's a whole different like environment, I should almost call it, on Instagram than there is on TikTok.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's a bit of thinking there. We now mainly it's just TikTok, where we just like make it for TikTok. It gets flung onto YouTube, Instagram. If they like it or not, great. If they don't, whatever. But it's mostly TikTok.
And do you still have that ability, or to put your sort of spin on things, or is it sort of, Max has his idea and that's...
No, Max usually has like the broad outline of how he wants like the flow of the video to go, but like in terms of like graphics and stuff, there's like usually a recurring element that like is like either like a timer or an emoji up top that signposts what's coming next or stuff like this. I made these when I started almost 2 years ago now. In January it'll be 2 years. Insane, holy shit. Where Max was like, I'm really looking for like an established style for the channel. I don't have like a set style, because Max used to make these. If you go to his TikTok and you like reverse the order of upload date, don't watch too many of those. It's like all very like Twilight, like emo, internet boy, self-absorbent stuff. But he made the switch when I came over, and he was like, I want this style, because it's just been us doing this like via like the TikTok app itself, and it's not sustainable and it doesn't look good. And thank God they didn't go for CapCut, because that is don't even get me started on CapCut. They basically wanted me to make a style, and what you see nowadays with like the way the font looks, the way it jumps, the way the things pop into the screen, is what originally I made for them as like the styling. We're still kind of keeping the thread in there, but there's obviously variations. You have Duties. I'm not sure if you're familiar, if that rings a name or rings a bell. Duties was basically one of Pest's original moderators on Twitch.
Okay.
After he also made like a bunch of like memes and videos and stuff, he was also like very shortly included with like the clips on the YouTube channel, and then he got pushed off to like the other stuff before he moved on as well. Max, at a certain point, asked me, I need a second editor. We need to put more stuff out. And I was like, I might know a guy. So Duties, who was one of Pest's old mods and editors, is now also one of my side editors as well for Max. So
that's good.
It's great that I could to like also like, it's still a bit of piece of the familiarity. I get a piece of the past times still. And Nadim's great, of course. I mean, that's his real name, but Duties is great.
Nice. And now when it comes to your videos with Pest, were you also doing the thumbnails as well, or were you just doing the video?
No, usually, I think if I remember, it was like if you had your video, you just made your thumb as well, basically. So that was like the easiest thing.
Okay, and then carrying over to Max, where your TikToks don't have a thumbnail, do you try to, plan which one is going to be the key frame for these TikToks, or that's you're thinking way too deep at this point?
This is actually something I don't do. I think Max usually either picks a very like off-looking frame, or maybe someone says something kind of like out of pocket, and that shows up on the subs, so people see that as a thumbnail maybe. But good point, actually. That is not something I actually take into account when I make these, mostly because it's something we haven't really noticed that like helps us out in any way so far. At least not on TikTok.
Yeah, gotcha.
But for Pest, like the thumbnails, it was just you had your video, you make your thumb for it. That's it. Unless it was like, a very big video that was like a very big sponsor or something, then we'd have like Narf or Frankie. Like, admittedly, I thought they were better at thumbs than I was. Admittedly, maybe not now anymore. Maybe it's time for a challenge.
There we go.
But
thumbnail challenge.
Thumbnail challenge.
And now, looking back since you came into the creative space, what have been some of your highlights and really good memories?
Dude, holy crap. Fuck, man. I'm going to have to light another cigarette for this one. Let me think. So we have, since I've come into the creative space, right?
Yep.
Shit.
Any particular trip or just the people?
Oh, I mean, the trips, obviously Australia was great. Pest also the year later invited invited me, Frankie, Narf, his sister Jin, and Coldblood, which was his main moderator. I'm sure you've maybe had an interaction with him. Coldblood kind of like knows everyone, I feel, to to San Diego for
Oh, were
TwitchCon
you
back
part
then.
of that gun thing then that they did in Texas?
No, this was right after. This was
Oh,
right
okay.
after. We needed people back. We needed some of the editors back
Oh.
home and one guy to film.
Frankie.
And Frankie was before Pest was a wedding photographer, so he
Yep.
already knew how to handle the camera.
Gotcha.
I admittedly told them, "Yeah, guys, sorry, you shouldn't put me behind a camera. I just find it really cool to shoot guns, but alas."
Yep.
Frankie got to experience the range day back there. I was still very jealous, but it's not really a widespread thing here in Belgium. Like guns and stuff is really not a thing at all.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, go back to the highlight.
Oh, right,
What
sorry.
is your
So
highlight?
the highlights. So trips, yeah, that was insane. I could go into the details of each trip, but like it's just memories basically for life, like drinking with Frankie and Narf on top of a rooftop. Oak was also there. I can't forget Oak. Oak was our kind of like student intern who also helped us sometimes with some of the thumbnails as well.
Yeah.
He got some experience there. I'm not sure if he's still there actually. I have no idea. Anyways.
Did I see a picture that you met Nikita somewhere along the way too?
Yeah, this was only very recently. This was in Amsterdam, TwitchCon Amsterdam that I went to, where Pest was also at. Matt was there. Train was there. Blitzer Girl was there. Wellen was there. I got very, very short talks with all of them. But John B was also there playing his set. Yeah, the picture I got there with Nikita I was literally just like looking for Nikita because I was like, oh, I need to get a picture with him. I was just like, hi, can I get a picture? Yeah. He was like, yes, sure. Up, I take picture. Up, I'm like, thank you. Yeah, no problem. He's got like shades on inside. It's like, this was also like, I think like not very long after my Tarkov diss track.
Oh yes,
on their whole expansion debacle.
Yes.
So.
That's right. That was so well done. The music. Where did it come from? The motivation came from clearly. What they were trying to do with that edition, but it was so well done.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. First of all, thank you. This is wholly based off of. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the Netflix series from Bo Burnham.
Yes.
Inside.
I saw the video. I was like, "Oh my god, you did such a great job with the music and the lyrics. The lyrics were so spot on."
Thank you, dude. Thank you. Appreciate. I literally just I sometimes still revisit songs from the series or from the show because they're just really great. And one of them is "Welcome to the Internet." If no one's familiar, and I was like, sometimes I do this thing where I like to replace lyrics from songs with like shit that's going on with my life or something, and it's like I don't let's say let's take a Christmas song like deck the halls in that, like something like that. Like I'd be walking up my stairs or something, and I'd be like, walking up my stairs to my room, walking through the hallway, stubbing my toe, like something like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when I'm like kind of idling at my desk or something, and I like listen to songs, I'd be like, oh, I obviously made a few songs in the past that are parodies of like other things. I mean, like American Boy from like a Scavenger Boy is also one. Because I'd never be good enough to make my own music, but covers are fine because I like singing it for the fun of it as well. And excuse me. This was just, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you. This wasn't like I woke up and decided to be like, I'm gonna make this song now. This was just like I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm being like, oh, like, what if I could like, welcome to Tarkov, welcome to Escape from Tarkov, welcome to EFT. Oh, that works. Welcome to EFT. Have a look around. Well, that's the original lyrics. We're gonna, we got patch notes on there, maybe with patch notes, and then you kind of just like start working things out. You get like a notepad up with all the lyrics, and you like start replacing line by line slowly. And I did this like as I was working for Max in between like renders or like offloading stuff.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, what could like, and like maybe KS23 something with. I think I had like 4 iterations of different lyrics and stuff, and like of rethinking as I was sitting there as well, and. My thing that I have, and that I've had for a while, even at Pests and other creators, is that I have this thing where I like to just do something where there is a needlessly overuse of effort, or way too much effort put into something, way too much commitment to the bit, to a point where people can pinpoint it in the comments and they'd be like, holy shit, they completely went all out for this stupid little thing where like I've been like editing for 2 hours to make like a 2-second clip like that much funny, or like elevated by that much levels, or something like this.
Like
that
my
was like
favorite
always my
scene
thing.
in your music video is that the camera's panning and you're looking slowly. I just think that's a great shot.
Thanks, man. But completely shot by shot, based off the actual video. If you like side by side of them, I'm pretty sure it's pretty. I made sure it was pretty similar. I made like a whole shot list, a storyboard, etc. I wrote my girlfriend into it. I was like, okay, you're gonna sit there. You're gonna like have the remote for the the spinning lasers. You're gonna have the piece of paper you hold in front of the spotlight. We didn't have a spotlight, so what I did is I don't have one. I grabbed an empty toilet roll.
Yeah.
And I taped like a bike light on one end of it.
Yeah.
And I taped that whole thing contraption to my my living room lamp, and then just pointed that to it. So the light inside made a perfect like sphere that you see in the video. It's just a toilet roll with a light through it. But you could never tell.
And
you would never be able to tell.
Even the screen behind you, the projection screen with all the images behind it, it just all synced up so well. It all came together so good.
Thanks, man. Very, very. That was like, I think the biggest premeditated thing in the whole process, where I was like, what could I do to make it like not just me sitting there singing like improvised lyrics related to Tarkov. So I again did the thing I'm best at. I made a video, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna sync it to the lyrics I sang. I sang it beforehand. I made sure everything synced up, and then. God, I have like 60, 70 outtakes just like still sitting there in a folder of us just like redoing it from the beginning, because I wasn't happy with like how the way my mouth was moving, or where I turned, or one of the lights was wonky, or maybe the beamer glitched.
Yeah.
And I was like super like focused into this thing where I have no like musical teachings or whatsoever. I'm like not at all into that. But I bought an actual like 60, 70 euro keyboard at like a hardware store, put it in front of me, and I just tried my absolute best to be like on the notes with my tapping and stuff, to a point where people were like in the comments like, I'm not sure if you're playing this live or not, but if you didn't, you like mimicked it very well. It like looks
100%
believable.
It looked like, I was like, I couldn't tell. Is he playing, or maybe he's not playing it? Because some fingers you see different, but it's like, oh man, it's just so well done.
Mm-hmm. I try to convince people that it was like all live, but you can there's a bunch of like continuity errors where the keyboard is like yay high up, and then a couple shots it's yay low down. So it's all very pieced together at the end, but coherently I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I'm happy people like you're saying it's very fun, because obviously I'm like. I kind of just came out of this community full time. I just was there, and now I'm just like a year later. I'm just like, man, what the fuck is happening with the game? Because I'm kind of like now watching from an outsider's perspective to like the Tarkov community and everything that's happening to it. So I was just like the same way at the end of my pesting. I made this whole clown reel thing on Twitter. I'm not sure if we knew each other back then just yet. But this was kind of like the magnum opus. This was like my final mic drop as I left. So it was kind of bittersweet, because it was very fun to make. It was very nicely put together in the end. I was very happy with it, and it was just a bit bittersweet. It did very well, but at the same time, I was also just like, kind of shame I have to do this. Like, have to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
and
hero we never needed type beat.
What kind of feedback did you end up getting? Did you get, was it all positive, or there's some people, still take shots because the internet's still full of trolls and stuff?
I genuinely don't remember a single bad comment.
Oh, nice.
I think there maybe might have been like one or two like Russian comments or something that were like kind of peeved, but I think mostly in broad terms, I don't remember a single like bad comment that stuck out. Yeah, no, not at all. I think the only backlash I got was after I uploaded the picture with Nikita, when they were just like, you just dropped a diss track on him. I'm just like, well, let bygones be bygones, or whatever.
And now, you know, for anybody who's watching this, hearing your story, what advice would you have for somebody who's looking to get into this editing space? You went the route of being trained, you know, went to school and everything like that to the point now where you're working in this creative space full time. Any advice for anybody?
Ah, man, I always find this very hard to answer because this is just like, I feel like in a lot of aspects in my entire journey, I've been pretty lucky. In some cases, like Pests thing, I wasn't originally gonna be doing, but I did anyways, and then I got like lucky enough to be funny, I guess. It's, you know, the other, like Max sent me a message instead of the other way around. So I feel like in my case, I did have a lot of luck involved, which kind of contributed to this imposter syndrome I had for a while. But I also started very young with like some stupid bullshit back in the day.
Yeah.
That then evolved. If I'd have to give anyone like that's like, I don't know, a bit more like of a mature age that's trying to get into editing, I would say mostly stay away from like these editing gurus that, like, you know, tell you like here's my 40-page course on whatever and yada yada. Here's how you make this many figures by spamming a bunch of fucking creators 6 times a week in their DMs. Stay away from that. What I always used to do, and this is just in the case where I was challenged to go out of my comfort zone in terms of editing, what I always did was just, if I needed to do something, I would just look it up, and how could I do it best to my ability with my spin on it.
Yeah.
If I needed a cool transition or something, and I've never done it before, which was always the case for a new transition, I have never been the guy to be like, oh, let me grab a preset pack of transitions. Like, all of my stuff on Premiere, I do it by hand. Like, everything is my keyframes is by hand. It takes a bit longer, sure, but it has more personality, it has more style to it, rather than I circle back to this CapCut thing where it's all just pre-made molds that people just slap onto shit and they call it editing. I would just say, if there's something you want to make, like, just literally, and I don't want to make this like sound like overly simple, but if there's something you want to make, look up how to do it and just try to mimic it to your best of your ability.
Yeah.
With your own spin is basically how I've always done it. If I wanted to learn something new in terms of editing, there's so much stuff in, like, I don't want to use the buzzword resources, but there's so much stuff online where you can just like very easily find it how to do. And I would just say mostly stay away from like templates and stuff. Just like try not to like double down on these like existing editors that sell their like 400 sound effects templates, whatever the fuck pack, and go establish your own foundation a bit, because I feel like you can't. It's much harder to make your own style, I feel, when you are just grabbing other people's stuff and sticking them together. You know what I mean? It's like I think that would be my like main thing. It's just like,
all right.
Yeah.
And now, away from editing, when you're not at the computer, you know, what are some of the things you enjoy? You and your girlfriend. You're gaming.
God. Me and my girlfriend, what do we like to do? We like to go to thrift stores, is like one of our main like fun pastimes. Half of our house and furniture is like refurbished stuff, because it's like always like fun. We have like this very particular taste. We like to play Dungeons and Dragons every Saturday. We play with a party of 6.
Oh shoot!
And that's been ongoing since, I think, February. It's our first campaign ever. So that's been a lot of fun. And I usually just like, if I do get like maybe an hour or two, I'd like to like log on to WoW. This time now it's more classic than anything. I used to Mythic Raid on retail, but that got exhausting very quickly.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like playing through classic at my own pace again. I'm like level 22 paladin now. And other than that, not really too much. I play a board game once in a while. We like to like window shop a lot of times. We like to just like, you know, be like a tourist in our own city, so to speak.
Nice.
And other than that, I don't know. Sometimes mostly just like hanging out together, doing like our own thing.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
mostly.
that.
Yeah. Not really anything I would say as like our like if I'm not editing, I'm gonna be doing this.
Yeah.
It would probably default back to games, but now this time of year I've had very little time to do that. So
All right.
Bit less of that.
Well, Boomer, thank you so much for doing this. It was wonderful to talk to you, and then I really enjoyed the stories and the conversation. But like with past guests, before I let you go, I look to you recommend somebody in your circle who you think would have a great story to come on and share.
If you haven't had Narf on, I would
haven't.
say he would have to be next. You've had Frankie.
Yep.
You've had me. You remember that like Mario Link
Full
Sonic
circle? Yeah.
circling back. We're all full circle now, dude. We're all coming back now. You got to have Narf to complete the editor trinity there. If you
All
want.
right. Well, we'll get you to twist his arm and tell him it wasn't too painful, and we'll get him on.
I'd love to see him. Absolutely.
Right. Well, Boomer, thank you again so much. It was wonderful to meet you.
No worries, man. I hope the what is it, 2.5 hours of your time weren't too bad to sit through.
It was awesome.